You clicked on this episode due to the headline. It's a sensational headline. It's an accurate headline, but is it clickbait or not? Let's dig into the details to find out what's what. In related news, ice cream sales are down 90% in November too. Let's get into it. Welcome back to House Rich, the first time homebuyer show where we help millennials figure out where do I get started in real estate and how to build generational wealth. Today we're talking about a headline I saw where Wells Fargo's loan origination are down 90%. But 90% compared to what, right? It's 90% year over year, which is very, very important when looking at this headline. It's a huge number. I'm not going to sugarcoat that fact, but the timeline is very important. And I'll also add my perspective because I used to work at Wells Fargo and originate loans. So let's talk about where interest rates were a year ago. Let's look. They were in the high twos, low threes, depending on where your credit was at. Let's look at where interest rates are now. They're in the high sixes, low sevens, depending on where your credit is at. That's very, very important from a perspective because in 2020, 2021, the vast majority of loans being originated were refinances. Like when you had Wells Fargo or basically a big name bank that has a base of customers already, or a customer big like Wells Fargo, Chase, the Bank of America that buys other loans, you already have a big database of customers, right? So what does that mean? It means that your typical customer, like, hey, Jenny's like, okay, I have a loan with Wells Fargo. Let me just call my local bank and see if they can refinance. And so that's why when you're at one of these big banks, particularly when I was at Wells Fargo, like a good ratio of refinances to loan originations was like a 3-to-1 ratio. So if you originate 4 loans in a month, 3 of them are refinanced, 1 is a purchase. And especially when rates were at historic lows, right? So pretty much anybody that was refinancing or buying a loan in 2020, 2021, they were getting a rate lower than they had before, right? And so if you purchased in 2017, 18, or 19, you most likely could refinance it into a lower loan in 2020, 2021. Also, if you add in the appreciation, right? If you had an FHA loan, a conventional loan, you were in a good position to actually refinance and drop your mortgage insurance, your private mortgage insurance, or your mortgage insurance premium, right? So that's another factor why refinances went nuts in 2020, 2021. So let's step back again. Who in the world is going to refinance now? Like I had someone actually ask me that, should I refinance? And I was like, if for some reason you got a interest rate higher than like 6-7%, yeah, by all means refinance. But like, who in the world is refinancing now that didn't refinance in 2020, 2021? So that's a big portion of the lack of loan origination is the off the cliff drop in refinances. So I didn't see this number. They didn't put this number in the article, but I would have guessed if loan originations are down 90%, I would guess refinances are down close to 97, 98% would be my just guess in the dark based on the overall picture of what's going on in Wells Fargo and many banks around the country. So the 6 major banks, Wells Fargo is the most dependent on loan originations for their bottom line. So you may be thinking, 2008 all over again. The bank's going to fail. Should I take my money out of the bank? If you remember 2008, you may have heard or remember the Dodd-Frank Act. It did a lot of things, but one of the things you can associate Dodd-Frank with is the too big to fail. So these banks are mandated by law basically to have a certain amount of reserves on hand, so they can't they can't fail because they have to have so much money on the sidelines that if something happens, they can be able to pay their debt. So overall recap, accurate headline, a little bit hyperbole. So on a scale of 1 to 4, 4 being the most hyperbolic, I give it 2 bowls due to extreme lack of context. If you got questions about any other articles, feel free to tag me or email me. Contact info is down below. And as always, buy land, rumor has it, they're not making any more of it.